The Orpington Cricket Cast is sponsored by Chelsfield Electrical, the Chelsfield Pub, Cook and Matthews Sport, Gaztech, J&K Coach Tours, Langford Printers and Language Link UK Limited. Thank you very much for your continued support. Just let me be with the woman that I love. And the girl shine like a looking glass. Oh, mysterious girl, I wanna get close to you.
Hello and welcome to the first ever Orpington Cricket Cast. This is a semi-regular, we hope, feature presented by myself, Big Mac and Cube, Mr. Morrow, who you will be well aware of for his frequent social media visits. It's a short segment which we'll put out every now and then, covering some special guests, what we're sort of up to, and hopefully, if we get some cricket, we can talk a bit about some of the games that have been going on as well. So, Jack, I believe you were going to launch the first ever part of the Orpington Cricket Cast.
Perfect. So our guest today has been with Orpington Cricket Club for over 30 years. He is the current chairman of Playing. He's a former bottom pitch player. He's captained the second team, the third team, and the fourth team. He's a former Colts coach, an umpire, and Orpington Cricket Club football club manager. And he's also a brilliant dad, husband, and granddad, Mr. Neil Tubby Markell. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you, mate. Nice intro. Cheers.
So, yeah, as we elaborated on, obviously, you've been with Orpington Cricket Club for a short while, we could fairly say. Talk to me sort of about like your earliest memories of Orpington Cricket Club as a whole, like, and the reason I suppose you started playing cricket.
Well, 30 years is a bit of an underestimate, to be honest. Being 49, I've been there apparently since I was 2 years old. So taking up and watched Dad when I was a kid, and then the same route as you guys. Start playing when you're about 8 or 9, rooted into the senior teams when you're big enough. Bat number 11, field on the boundary, do nothing. And that was me beginning, really. Came through the Colts section, just like you two, under the likes of Ron Nash, Dave English, Gordon Hall. Blast from the past.
Big Mac still bats 11 and fields on the boundaries. Just
see, that's just unfair.
Doesn't field on the boundary.
No. So you're. I suppose if you've been at the club since you were 2, like, is your first memories potentially watching your dad play? Like, is that like the first memories of cricket you have, or?
Yeah, first memories. We lived for 4 or 5 years in Hampshire, and Dad was so hooked into the club that we used to travel up every weekend. Me and my sisters would stay at my nan's. He'd play cricket Saturday and Sunday. We'd go back to Hampshire on a Sunday evening, and that was the summer for us. So, and obviously as I got older, sisters stayed with Mum, I stayed with Dad. Cricket all round, playing with the other kids, then scoring, dossing, just being out with Dad, which was really great.
Perfect. So obviously your dad, which we've spoken about, is a bit of an Orpington Cricket Club legend. So talk to us about him as a cricketer, for obviously some of the people that wouldn't have known him, and talk to him about as a person as well.
As a person, for those who can remember him, he was, don't know where I get it from, but sometimes quite belligerent and stroppy, opinionated. Used to bat in the top 4 for the second team. At his peak, he once got 1,000 runs in a season, but by his own admission, he wasn't the greatest cricketer. He did it for the social side and the love of the club, hence the fact that he did all these roles that the likes of Robbo and Jeff have done over the years, chairman, president, treasurer, etc., etc. But yeah, I mean, he loved it. I mean, that's part of the reason I love it. It's family. I could mention so many family names to you: the Atkinsons, the Frys, Davises, McCrackens.
We don't need to talk about that.
There's so many I could mention.
I don't know. I don't need to talk about dads. You know, they're not important sometimes. You know.
No, but I think that's part of the charm.
The son transcends the father. You know, that happens.
And sometimes he doesn't. But no, seriously though, big charm about OCC is the family links. Once it's got its hooks in you, you know, and I as I'll tell you later on, I gave up for 5 or 6 years, and it was only when Connor decided he wanted to play, there was only one place he was going to play. So bringing him up to be coached, next thing you know, I'm back playing myself. So it's family, massively.
So obviously we've spoken about you starting out, obviously why you're into cricket. Let's talk about sort of like your earliest memories on a cricket pitch. Maybe sort of like your first senior memories when you were sort of like 12, 13, and sort of as you started to get more involved in senior cricket as you got a little bit older. Let's talk about those memories.
Really early days was almost exactly like I said. You were picked to make up the numbers. You know, the senior guys would do what they wanted to do, and as a 12, 13-year-old, fielded on the boundary and batted 10 or 11 if you were lucky, in whatever team that might be. But you got to bear in mind that in those days we had, I think, 4 sides on a Saturday and 3 on a Sunday. So there's plenty of opportunities for cricket. And then, you know, as you grow up, your voice breaks, you become stronger, etc., etc. You start making your way. And
One
early
day,
memories,
Jack,
yeah, it'll happen. I guess the best memory I had was playing in the Clark Trophy team, which was a forerunner of, I guess you call it 2020. It was a limited over thing that used to happen after work with a lot of the first team guys, and I got in that side when I was 15. Trying to remember who the captain was. It might have been Ian Clarkson, possibly John Freeman. But we got to the final. I think I was 15 years old. We used to produce something called the Buff, which was like a fanzine, for want of a better phrase. And there's a brilliant picture in a copy of that I've stolen off of Moth. The likes of Steve Bennett, myself, Graham Kettle, Gordon Hall, lots of names that would go down as legends. So as a 15-year-old, that was brilliant. Absolutely awesome. But beyond that, it was part of the reason some of us don't fulfill our potential. You hit a certain age, it all becomes about something else. It doesn't become about the cricket or improving. It becomes about what time's the bar open, where we're going for a curry.
I don't know what he's talking about, Jack, to be honest.
We're strictly professionals on this cricket cast. I don't even know.
I think we all do.
So obviously we've spoken about some of your memories there, Neil. I can't call you Tubby anymore. It doesn't feel right to call you Tubby.
What you like.
But what's some of your earliest memories of Ben and myself, like at the cricket club? Just interested. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Well, there you go. I've got lots of memories of you, Jack. Most of them I try and push to the back of my mind. But the first memory of you, mate, was obviously doing the under-11s, and you were one of the eldest in the age group. Therefore, you were captain. And you know what I'm going to say next, don't you?
Walking in, by any chance? Walking in, lads. Walking in.
Say every single ball, with your slight lisp. It was very cute at the time, but after 5 overs, it got slightly wearing. But all said and done, you were a good captain, and especially the younger kids, they were good under you. My memories of you now, I haven't had a drink, you're great. If I've had a drink, we tend to wind each other up a little bit, don't we?
A little bit. Well, but it's all love, isn't it? It's all love.
Well, it's West Ham Millwall, isn't it? That's the problem.
Exactly, yeah.
And Ben, oh my God, when he was a nipper, wouldn't say boo to a goose. Literally the shyest kid you'd ever see. He was there. You see him all the time with his old man. Who would have thought he'd have turned out to be so witty, sarcastic, and sometimes amusing? And also, I'm going to blow smoke up his what's it here. Does fantastic work, skipper in the fours. Does the admin stuff that, as anyone who's done it will tell you, is an absolute ball ache. Trying to chase up players on a Saturday. He even did it for a year when he said he wouldn't and couldn't, which is credit to him and credit to you, Jack. You know, to get someone your age on the committee doing the role you're doing, and potentially skipper in the twos when we ever start playing, is brilliant.
If we ever start playing again, I don't know.
Is that enough smoke up enough arses for you?
Yeah, no, good, perfect.
You can keep going if you want.
Keep going. We can make this about us. We don't need to talk about you anymore. So obviously you've probably got lots of highs about Orpington Cricket Club. Have you got anything that sticks out as potentially a low point, or anything that you regret?
Not low points as such. Regrets, yeah. I mean, many times I've been too belligerent and confrontational on the pitch to the point where it's ridiculous.
I'll tell you.
And I wish I wasn't that sort of character, but I think I've calmed down now. But I look back on some of the things, and it's pretty embarrassing. toys out of pram when you feel people are cheating, etc., etc., which they do. But that's the regret. But the biggest regret was I stopped playing in 2001 when Lewis was born. And if someone had said to me I wouldn't play again for 6 years, I wouldn't have believed them. And funnily enough, I didn't miss it for 6 years. But then Connor got involved, came back up, and you realise when you do come back up how much you missed it. So looking back, from the age of 31 to 37, I didn't play, which is a real waste. Not for the club, for me personally, but that's a regret. That really is a regret in a strange way because I saw him grow up, but 6 years was too much.
So as a cricketer, you were a bowler, I'm right in thinking, and then it's only in sort of like recent-ish years you've changed into becoming a specialist batsman. So
take specialist, thank you.
So were you a hot-headed bowler? Did you have a temper?
Yeah.
Did you throw your toys out the pram when you bowl?
Yeah, all of those things. It's like at the cricket club, you get countless nicknames, and one of my early nicknames was Menstrual, which is not particularly politically correct, but that was based around it was difficult to talk to when I was bowling. I hated even a single run being taken off me. Bowl a bad ball, typical seam bowler. I wouldn't say I was a quick bowler because I wasn't, but more a swing bowler. But
a bit like Alex Langford then,
with ability.
Good.
Sorry, Al.
Personality. So, anything for you to follow up with that, Big Mac?
Well, I mean, I guess one thing that I could throw in, it's slightly out of place, but sort of my early memories of Tubby as a sort of reverse. I remember, I won't go into too much detail, one of Tubby's low points as being one that just sort of sticks out as an on-field argument. I wouldn't go as far as confrontation, but certainly an argument. But I think it actually ended up speaking volumes about sort of Tubby because it wasn't affecting him. He was defending Connor in that moment in his mind, and it was sort of, I think show the kind of captain he was as well, and the kind of general person that he is. People play cricket for fun, and so does Tubby. It's never sort of beyond that, but there is an element of I'm playing therefore I want to be the best I can be. I want to win, and I think that's really that's a sort of positive on that situation that I can draw out of it.
Big Mac, was that the wicket-keeping helmet incident?
Yes, that incident indeed.
Can we explain that? I don't know that story. Can we explain that story?
Well, the way I remember it is,
go on then.
I think Ches was keeping without a lid on, and
not quite. He was standing back, and the guy was batting out of his crease. So I wanted to, as quiet as I could, tell Connor to come and stand up for a couple of balls, just drag him back into his crease, make him think. And of course, Connor did, and he came up and did it without his helmet. At which point, their player who was umpiring, thanks to Stockbridge shouting it from the rooftops, he's got to wear a helmet. Their bloke joined in, and I didn't appreciate the way he went about it, so I told him. But that was more because I was pissed off that he caught us out on the little ruse we were trying to do. Nothing, we weren't trying to break the rules, but just drag him up. And obviously,
I also think it ended with Tubby and him both having an embrace and actually saying they were a bit sort of silly and acting the way they did. So it was nothing sort of menacing about it.
Well,
but equally,
absolutely. But what also happened was, as it calmed down slightly, Pete Smith came up to me and said, "You should have chinned the Neanderthal."
That doesn't sound like him at all.
No.
Well, there you go. Maybe I'm making it up.
I also believe that you, Tubby, are partly responsible for Big Mac. There was a 13 game I remember when every single ball and over I bowled, there was a different name used to call me. I think it was you and Ches were leading the charge. And I think from that over, it was born.
I do often, when fielding, try and think up nicknames for people just to keep my mind occupied. And obviously, most of them 90% crap, and I don't feel the light of day. I tried mini cheddars with you, Crackers.
I remember
because
that one,
at that point, you were slightly smaller than your dad. So but Big Mac's obvious, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Cube. I can't take credit for Cube though. I've got to pass that
No.
on to Chris Watts.
Do you know what? That was actually Andrew Leslie and Chris Watts. Can't give Chris. I'm not giving Chris Watts full credit of it. And I've had like the QB Bridge, and I've had all sorts from that. But yeah, to be fair, it's the first nickname
Part
I've
of the charm
had.
though.
Yeah, that's
In
the
all
first
seriousness,
nickname I've had. Like proper. I've had
it's
Mozza.
part of the charm of OCC, Jack. In my opinion, it's part of the fact we love it so much. The nicknames, they're great.
Yeah.
What is your favourite OCC nickname, Tubby?
It's got to be Yammer because it's such a tenuous nickname. Do you know the thinking behind that one?
I've heard it before. I can't remember it.
Is there a song involved?
Yeah, there was a soul singer called, I believe, James Ingram, and his most famous song was called Yamo Be There. And me and Pabs mentioned it, I think one time, and then someone started singing it, and ludicrously it took. So I mean, he was known throughout the Kent League as Yammer. People didn't know his real name.
I don't think I know his real name
it,
for years.
break it down. It's crap, isn't it? But actually, it works.
No, it does. I think my earliest memory of you, Tub, going back to that question, like obviously under 11s. I think I was obviously 8 and 9. I was being coached by Andy and Woozy. I played like Andy gave me a first game when I was like 9 when I was under 11. But then the year after, you took over the coach. So like my first memories are probably one of the happiest times of playing cricket. You're doing really well at an age group where you're quite clearly too big for. At 10, like now, yeah, funny. But I was like scoring 25, batting with Matt Lane. Obviously, you as coach, and there'll always be that'll probably be my earliest memories of playing cricket like that type of age. So I've got nothing but positive memories of you from a young age, unfortunately.
They go downhill from there, do they? Jack?
Yeah, massively. So look, I think we've touched upon it, and the massive element of you staying at OCC is the family culture that you get with the club. But like, you can get that culture elsewhere. Like, I think there's other family clubs around locally. So what else has been a reason for why you've stayed with Orpington Cricket Club?
Because I live in Orpington. I don't know. I can't imagine playing anywhere else, mate. Honestly, couldn't play anywhere else. I probably wouldn't play at all if it was somewhere else. So
what's it like having seen your dad play, you play, Connor play, and Lewis play at Orpington Cricket Club? What's that like?
You soon get used to it, but when it first happens, it's great. You know, Connor, who turned himself from a little dibbly-dobbly bowler, ended up opening the batting for the first team this year. That was the key. When he was 15, I think, and he decided he wanted to play cricket, there was only one place he wanted to play. You know, me being his stepdad, his dad played for OCC, his granddad played for OCC, John Brooke and Steve Brooke, for those who might be watching. So it was only one place he was going to go. I mean, that wasn't just about locality, it was about where it is now. And then obviously playing with your sons is a tick in the box. Last time I played with Lewis, I dropped a catch of his bowling. I'd love to have had a caught Markell, bowled Markell, but I spilt it, and I can't imagine myself playing in the same team as him on a Saturday anytime soon. But yeah, it's family. I played with my dad, obviously, many times. You know, he used to be a wicket keeper. I used to be the bowler, and I was on the way up and he was on the way down. That was good. But it's you know, I just asked Brian what it's like. I know Brian's very proud he played that game with all three of his boys, and there'd be plenty of dads like me who, you know, it's that box tick. So
Big mate,
that's OCC in a nutshell.
You've played with your dad a few times as well, haven't you? So
yeah,
any fond memories of playing with your dad?
Genuinely can't even. No fond memories. I genuinely can't remember. Like there was probably one, maybe a stretch 2 seasons where I was in the third team and he was still in the fours. But I mean, from the age of like 12 to what am I now, like so maybe 10 years, maybe 8 seasons, I played in the same team as him every Saturday, which is nice. Yeah, obviously from the soft side, you know, you enjoy playing with him because you know that he's not going to play forever, and he doesn't really play now. but equally watching him bowl absolute filth getting wickets when I'm charging in every week was not so nice.
Charging in.
It was a seam bowler.
I made it look harder than it was, right?
Perfect.
No, actually, Big Mac raises a good point. There's I don't know if my two have felt it when they played with me. I doubt it. They're not that way inclined, but a different generation. There was pressure playing with your dad. I mean, he used to give me a hell of a hard time, give me shit all the time. You do something, you misfield that somebody else had done 5 times, and your dad would bollock you on the pitch. That was a hard school, especially in those days, because they were all like it. All the dads were like it. Very hard on their kids. Can't show any emotion. Can't show that I care, so I'll bollock them instead. That's very much the way it was.
Who was the better cricketer out of the 4 of you then, Neil? Who's the best cricketer?
Connor and Lewis are both better than me and my dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you'd say that, to be fair.
It's true. It's true.
Who's better, Big Mac or Crackers?
It's a dead heat.
I mean, only one of us is the GOAT. So whenever I mention that, he just gets angry about the fact that play cricket started too late and he's got books with like 8thers in it. But no, they don't exist online. So
Does he not mention that he played in higher team?
Oh, he's mentioned all sorts. I got second team wickets. I captained the 2s. I did this. I did that. I've got Denley out. Oh my word.
I think there's a case of he doth protest too much there, Big Mac, I think.
Gmo. Gmo.
Exactly.
Your favourite ever season at OCC? This can be from a playing perspective. This could be from a watching perspective. Like, what's been your favourite season?
Good question. I'd have to go for 1996. And to put it into context, that was a year that all the leagues in around our area decided to amalgamate and become part of the Kent League. So they put the leagues together as best they could and see how things panned out. So that was Jeff Atkinson as captain. He was a brilliant captain, to be perfectly honest. Brilliant with me, brilliant with the team. And it was play win, lose, draw cricket in those days. And we played against teams who we were much better than, who would win the toss, put us in, we'd get stacks of runs, and then they'd shut up shop for 50 overs. So I don't know if you guys have ever played the losing draw cricket. Basically, if you don't bowl them out, you don't win. So that would result in all of us around the bat, lots of commenting, lots of backs against the wall stuff, and we ended up getting promoted. And I wrote down some names of some people, and if I forget anybody, then I apologise. But that's the likes of Steve Bradford, Ian West, Jeff, Ian Clarkson, Steve the Viking Hayden, a fella called Jim Phillips, who played for 2 or 3 years, who was a great batsman, Graham Davis, Mark Penny, happy days. And to make that year even better, we did win and get promoted. But it was also slap bang in the middle of that season was the 1996 European Championships for football, when England were actually good. And the country was sort of gripped by that feel-good thing that goes on during a football tournament. So, and I was still just about young, free and single at the time. Brilliant year, brilliant team, brilliant people. So 1996.
So is that, from a personal moment, did your best ever season, like, personally come then as well? Like, most wickets you ever?
No. Mine was probably my ages sort of 17, 18, 19, 20 were my best years. And then, as I said, you start concentrating on other things. You start looking at the social side of it rather than how good you might be or could be, etc., and you take your eye off the ball. And I think a lot of youngsters are guilty of that, and I certainly was. But no, I wasn't at my peak in '96. Still bowling well, but talking second team level, Jack. That was, I didn't say that, did I? That was second team.
Second team. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, look, I think Big Mac has touched upon this quite nicely. I'm just going to throw some stats out at you here now. Obviously, play cricket has only been around recently, but you've got a fair chunk of your career on play cricket still. So your best ever score with the bat, is that the 97 against Blackheath in 2012? Or have you scored 100?
I scored 100 for school, yeah.
But have you scored 100 for Orpington?
No,
Never scored 100 for Orpington. So let's talk about your 97 against Blackheath then in 2012, shall we?
Yeah.
Talk me through it. Did you give it away? Did you know what you were on?
No, I had no idea what I was on at all. Funnily enough, sometimes when you bat, you just feel great, don't you?
No.
It'll happen, mate. It'll happen.
One day.
That was one of those days. I mean, they weren't particularly good. Let me be brutally honest. They weren't great, but no, I had no idea what I was on. I didn't really care, to be honest. Funnily enough, without getting too maudlin about it, Jack, if you just give me the nod on what year that was.
2012. 2012.
2012. So that was dead on the day of 2 years after my dad dying.
Okay.
So that was quite an emotional one when I came off. But no, I didn't know I was on 97. And then, of course, you end up down at the bar at the end, and the likes of Ben Clarkson are pointing out to you, it's just another 3 runs and you'd have done it. But no, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Give monkeys, really.
Do you think there could be a ton in you then, Tubbs?
No.
Fair enough.
No. I'm playing 13 and 14 cricket now, Jack. There's fewer overs, and I haven't
Get on with it
ability.
then. Get on with it.
Yeah, all right.
Big Mac will show you the way. He's hit some quick fire 50s.
I've not got 50 once, so that's irrelevant.
40s, apologies. You again, you two have got that in common. You like a choke, didn't you? So the highest bowling figures on play cricket. Now I suspect that you probably do have better bowling figures, but it's 6 for 68 in 2008. But I'm guessing you've probably got a fair few fighters in your time.
Yeah, a couple of 7-fers for OCC, but I couldn't tell you how many runs went with those. No, I've got no idea. But you've got to remember, when I was playing league cricket at similar age to you guys, slightly older, if you had bowled well in a 48 or a 50 over game, you stayed on. There was no 10 over limit, and there certainly wasn't even a limit for the kids who were under 18. You bowled and bowled and bowled. So, it was easier to get those 5-fers. Much easier. I mean, I can remember a particular game bowling a 24 over spell under Ian Clarkson over at Beckenham and getting a 5-fer, which I wouldn't have got. I'd probably end up with 2 for something if you'd been dragged off after 10. So a different game.
Fair enough.
To be perfect. No fielding restrictions or anything like that either.
I want to go on to some awards. So 1986, you were the most promising youngster at Orpington Cricket Club. How old would you be in 1986? 14?
15. 15.
A special moment for you in 2018, Lewis winning the same award.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you think 22 years later?
Yeah, well, there's a group of you, isn't there? There's a group of. This is something I was going to say if you specifically got onto it. But one of the great pleasures now is watching the youngsters come through. Not just my sons, obviously, but the ones I coach, the likes of you. There are those who aren't around anymore that I wish that were, and there are those that are around that I wish that weren't. But it's a great pleasure watching you lot come through. And vast majority of you that are still around have all played first team cricket now.
Yeah.
And a lot of you guys who are in that team that you can remember, Jack, have also won that award as well.
I haven't.
I mean, that's testament to those guys. Most of them, I said.
I don't think
it's most promising, Jack. That's why.
Yeah, fair.
Got to learn to catch first, Jack.
I'm actually pretty good at hands. I've just dropped a couple of horrible clangers in my time. So I've just got the notification say we've got 10 minutes left. So I thought we didn't have a limit, but we do. And obviously the most improved, the Terry Markell trophy. Obviously, must be nice having a trophy named after your dad, which Connor's won as well, I believe, right?
I think he has. Yeah, I think so.
Perfect. So what's next for you at OCC then? Neil?
I don't know really. I'll carry on playing for as long as I can if ever we start again. But a lot of focus is on the committee now, Jack, as you know, especially with a new chairman who's trying to do new things in a difficult time. I'll support him as much as I can. And back to that point I just made, just watching you youngsters come through. I mean, I could name you all, 9, 10 of you, perhaps, who are all playing now at a really good standard. That gives me a lot of pleasure. Might not express it perhaps on a Saturday night with a beer in my hand, but
I think
it is true.
That says a lot about you. I mean, not that it says anything about my coaches. I started with Bullard, I think, and then I had Woos, and then Bob Graham sort of did the tail end. But my age group is Aaron Sanders obviously come back in the last 2 years to play. But I mean, Alex Graham has unfortunately decided to not play anymore. But from my age group and even the year above me, we've got no one.
No, it just works like that sometimes, doesn't it? I mean, I can, off the top of my head, and I didn't want to do this, I might forget someone, but obviously you got Matt Lane and Luke Lane, Fothers, Freddie Horlock, Jack, James Reed, Lewis, Alex Langford. It's terrible doing this because I'm bound to forget someone and I don't mean to. Think of anyone else, Jack?
No,
From that team?
From that, no. Ryan, but obviously Ryan's.
Ryan McKelliger.
Yeah,
There's a couple of others like George Mason may well come back. Todd Rodriguez, wish he would come back. He's a very good player. Yeah, lots of them really.
So you're to blame for Freddie and Fothers?
What, for their personalities? No, I'm not holding my hands up for that one.
Your legacy then, Neil.
That's for other people to say, mate. That's not for me to say.
Well, okay. Well, I'll phrase it in a different question. We're writing your plaque that could go on to the new scoreboard.
My obituary.
Your obituary, yeah.
That's what he's going to say then.
How do you want to be remembered at Orpington Cricket Club?
A club man.
How
would you remember Neil then, Big Mac?
Yeah, I think that's.
I haven't gone anywhere.
No, he's a club man. You know, he's committee now, and he does the job that literally no one wants to do if chairman are playing, and has done it longer than most have done in the last few years. So long may it continue.
I think it's fair to say we can call Neil a legend, a club legend. I don't think a club man does him justice. I think
I think legend gets used too much, mate.
You're modest. I mean, all right, Club Plankton Award winner 2019. Should we talk about that?
There you go, you see. There you go.
The best of us have won that award, Jack. We don't need to go into more details.
That's right.
Exactly.
With the 2020 award still be won by me. The answer is Oasis. Oh, God, I can't believe I just said that. On a live.
Who's Henry VIII's third wife? Third.
All right. But the last thing we do, so we're doing as a segment, Big Mac, do you want to explain the 1 to 11 concept to people?
Yeah, so basically full on rip-off from House of Rugby, where they do 1 to 15 from a topic. We initially proposed to Neil a Tubby 11 of larger members that they've played with, but he was far too nice and decided instead, I believe, go for, is it 11 people you'd like to have a beer with?
Yeah, definitely.
I have not been so nice. I've written a team of fatties. So
yeah,
get ready for that.
I've got my team as well. Neil, just out of interest, what numbers would me and Big Mac be batting in the Tubby 11?
10 and 11.
10 and 11. Cool, perfect. All right, so go on then. Who are your opening batsmen in your 1 to 11 then, Neil?
Okay, refer to my crib sheet here. Gucci is number 1. As everyone knows, Gucci is a total one-off, an absolute lunatic in the nicest possible way. A very good mate to me, good company. He's definitely been my opening bat, number 1. Shall I just go through all your
just go through.
All right, opening with him, a fella called Paul West, from my age group, and played for many, many years till again his family was heavily involved. Never stopped smiling, a great laugh, great in the bar. Number 3, a proper club legend, Jeff Atkinson, who is so full of stories, both cricket based and social based, and loves a chinwag over a beer. So Jeff at number 3. Number 4, the most obvious choice of all, another true legend, Pablo Sterling. Truly great bloke, great company, can be hilarious when he wants to be, but if you want to talk sensible cricket with him, he'll also do that with you. And he's still around now. I think he played first team again last year at his age. Great guy, great bloke to have a beer with. Number 5, Paul West's brother, Ian West, really good friend of mine, a good mate for a long, long time. Again, lots of stories from Colts tour and tours that I can't share with you, but he'd been at number 5. Number 6, probably a bit lower than he would normally bat, but Woozy. He tells you the score. If he thinks you're wrong, he tells you you're wrong, which is fine by me because that's what I'm like as well. But again, many a beer stood at the bar with him, especially when we were both coaching the kids. So definitely Woozy in the middle order, number 6. Number 7, the late, great Steve Viking Hayden. I'd love to have a single chance to share a beer with him again. Great bloke. Really, really good teammate. Hard as nails. Loved to drink. Probably because he lived just across the road and never had to drive. But chance to have a beer with him again would be great. God rest his soul. Number 8, Richard Doker Hall. You'd have to choose who kept wicket between Rich and Viking. I think Rich was a better keeper. Perhaps Viking more mobile in the field. But Rich sing songs in the bar. The songs he used to sing. He was the fulcrum of all the social entertainment in the bar back in the day, throughout the 90s. Played well into the 2000s as first team keeper, and he was a brilliant keeper. Great to have a drink with. Good with nicknames too. Number 9, never actually played with him, but I've drunk with him far too much. The current club chairman, Adrian Langford. He's in because if he knew there was a drinking team and he wasn't in it, he'd kick off. Absolutely.
Sure.
So he's in. Number 10, you've got to have an overseas player. So I've chosen Martin because I thought he was hilarious last year. Great company. Obviously, things didn't go as we might have wished on the pitch, but off the pitch, I thought he was a great guy. So he's me overseas, but we're not paying him. And last but not least, a bona fide number 11, a guy I like to have a drink with, I used to think was a king-size pain in the arse when he was a kid, but I think the world of him now is Hayden Alcock. He's a good laugh in the bar especially, and a pretty decent cricketer too. 1 to 11, there you go.
Perfect. So this call's going to get cut off at any minute. So Neil, we'll say thank you to you there. And me and Big Mac will wrap up on a separate call. But you've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, Tubbs.
Cheers, fellas. Stay safe, everyone.
Cheers, Neil.
All the best. See you later.
So how great was it to speak to Neil Markell? I mean, he is a club legend, regardless of what he says, in my opinion. I don't know about you, Big Mac.
Yeah, it's you know what you get with Tubby. Like he mentioned Woos and his drink 11. They're very similar. You know, if they're not happy, they'll say, and but they're nice to talk to after you've had a beer, and we'll always buy you a beer as well. Never shy to.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't fault Neil for. He'll always get you a beer. And his 1 to 11 was interesting. Some surprises in there. I didn't quite expect to see Pablo make the team, and Adrian.
You've got to have a drink with Pabs.
Pablo can't drink anymore, my friend. And then Hayden sneaking in at the end, but I suppose there's some nice people that snuck into him. So look, you're not going to be holding back for your Tubby.
I would say I'm not holding back. It's just that I have genuinely done a Tubby 11, and this is without. Well, actually, no. If you're offended, then suck it up, grow up.
I'll listen to your Tubby 11. If I think you're missing anyone, or I think anyone should be added, I'll let you know, and we'll come to an agreement at the end because I've got some names written down, but I didn't do a full 1 to 11. So talk me through your opening batsman then, please, Big Mac.
So, old Tubby. Obviously,
old Tubby. Old
I stuck him in opening. He opened for me last year in the fours on his first game back and got 50. But he's opening up with a legend of the club, former president, Maxwell regular, Goldie Hall.
Gordon Hall.
I couldn't have not have Gordon in there.
So have you? Does that mean that Neil Atherton has missed out of your team?
Well, I've never played with Athers, so I didn't put him in.
We'll have a shout out to Neil Atherton. If lad's watching, I doubt he is. He don't speak English, but he would have been in my team. I've batted with him a few times, and it is what I've seen got cement dry, cement turned quicker than us do. You know, number 3.
I'll do 3 and 4 because they're sort of they come as a pair. I think these two.
Okay.
I've not spent a huge amount of games with them, but they certainly fit the billing. Messers, Gooch, and Pies. Slotting at 3 and 4. Pie's another one who's done a bit of a Tubby in recent years, but I think certainly fit the bill. historically speaking.
Okay, interesting.
What do you want now? 5 and 6.
5.
5 is you, because I played with you. 6, I've gone huge here, and it's a full-on insult. Joel Smith, you fat, get over it.
Just to go, let's just go back. Like, actually, talk about their playing ability as well. Like 5 and 6. I want to hear you say, right, Morrow bats well for a big lad. Joel Smith, great batsman, just put on a load of weight. I don't know how you're going to describe it.
Both of those aren't true, so it's fun. Well, obviously, you've sort of reinvented yourself a bit. You give the impression as a bit of a big hitter, and you paddle it around like a child. As for George, I mean, most likely to chip it to cover, George Smith. There you go.
7 and 8.
7 and 8. I'll go with 8 first, because I do like 8 as a person. When I first started playing third team cricket, he was captain, and he drove me to every game, I think, in the front of his car. A lot of time for him. He came down to Southampton, was a real laugh. It's Gamey.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
7, I've got one of the fattest blokes I've ever had to share a changing room with a cricket pitch. He's also keeping in this side. And his wife is due to have a baby, but he is the one who's been eating for 2. Adam Page.
Yeah, well, Pagey had to get into that side.
Yeah. 9, I've got one of my favourite people in the world at 9. Again, I would say slightly trimmer than he once was. Maybe it's because of all those fancy haircuts he's been getting. That is K-Rod. And 10 and 11 are, again, it's a massive insult. It's a father-son duo. I'm at 10, and my fat father is slotting in at 11.
Right. Fair enough.
So some in there are genuine Tubby 11 members, but there are people that I've played with. I actually found it quite hard once I listed out 7 people to find genuinely like Tubby people. We're sort of against the trend of the club, I think. I don't know what that's all about, but
I mean, there's people that are
my
borderline though, aren't there? Like we could go through some names now, like Phil Robinson. As much as I love you, Phil, you're borderline. Langford, Alex, you're borderline.
Notorious.
Like Hayden, you were fat once. You sort of,
he got lucky because he just grew.
He grew, yeah. He did deserve it. And then you mentioned Pagey. There's a few. I say there's a few of the guys.
Clarkson's next.
Clarkson, yeah, Clarkson will be next to go. But all right, I'll take your side. Obviously, updates of the club. Obviously, we've still not July. Possibly some cricket, possibly not. We don't really know. We've been trying to keep people busy on social media. So obviously you took part in the quiz that I hosted and recorded, and we put out A League of Their Own. I don't know. I wasn't sure about the name, but when I said it at first, but I think it's a good name, A League of Their Own.
There was certainly a lot of moaning from my team.
I watched it back, and like, there's some of the stuff you did. You just weren't very good at like some of the questions. To be fair, Aaron Sandy was outstanding. Let's be honest. Some of his answers
because he's boring and likes New Zealand at cricket. I think that each team should have to try an away question. We did, they didn't. It's but once we were 3 points behind in the first round, it was potentially a fight was on our hands. So I won't spoil it in case you want to watch it. But.
No, yeah, it wasn't close in the end. Is the only thing I would say. But yeah, check out our new YouTube channel. Obviously, at Orpington CC is our new YouTube channel. This will be going on our YouTube channel unless you're listening to the audio only version, which we're hoping works, which will be on podcast websites, probably Podbean, but we'll put out links for that. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, Big Mac. I don't know about you.
Yes, it's a nice little thing to keep it ticking over. I mean, obviously, no one will be listening by now because they would have got bored and turned off. But it's quite nice hearing it from Tubby. And we got more special guests lined up, Jack. I understand.
Yeah, so I'll be messaging a few special guests at the weekend. My dream guest, if I could get anybody involved in from the club or outside, like in the outside cricket world, I'd love to get Brian Lane on here. I think Brian Lane would be a good person to have a chat with. And if we're going outside cricket, I think I'd love to get like someone like Greg James or Felix White who do the Tailenders podcast. I think that podcast's really entertaining. So it'd be interesting.
Aiming a bit high there.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get, I don't know, Zach Crawley, talk about if we're going like Kent players, Zach Crawley could be interesting. But we'll see where this goes. But I suppose until next time, Big Mac, you want to sign off for us?
Yeah, this is me coming up with a goodbye on the spot. So thank you for listening. If you made it this far, goodbye.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.